Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Thick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Wednesday edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Spencer Israel here with Dennis Thick. Joel is out celebrating the Jewish holiday, but we have more important things to discuss, and that is one thing and one thing only, TLRY, that we're going to rename our show. I know we say that a lot, but I mean, this TLRY is just ridiculous. Nothing matters. The S&Ps don't matter. Oil, gold, who cares? We're going to talk about TLRY to lead the show off, and really, it's bringing out the rest of the cannabis sector with it. But just what a move in that one. We're going to talk about Tesla, ABBV, Roku, Nike. Questions from our chats, and our guest today is Chris Brecher. He will join the show at 8:35. We're going to discuss with him the upcoming S&P rebalances on Friday that'll go into effect at the close, and kind of how to approach volatility that could happen in those stocks. Dennis, at what price did you get filled on your TLRY?
And I'm pulling the Joel here, and I was on mute here, but no trades on TLRY. Unbelievable. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I watched the segment with Kramer last night. They had the CEO on Mad Money, and the stock was trading up about 162. And then he was like, and the spinner was talking about it. He was kind of, Kramer was trying to push him. Do you need to raise capital? Is there? And the CEO really wasn't saying too much about that. But the stock, when they started talking about raising capital, fell from like 162 down to 157. Just slowly kept climbing then through the rest of the show. By 7 o'clock, it was back up at the end of Mad Money. It was back up to like 162, 163 last night. And Kramer said, again, I think they're going to raise capital here. I'd be very cautious of the buyer. So not even Jim Cramer could knock the stock down, because by 8 o'clock, which is last night's close, the stock was up at 170. You come in here this morning, it's 215. I mean, it's in full parabolic mode. It will end badly, but who knows where that is? I mean, it's not worth $17 billion or whatever it is. So, I mean, I wasn't worth, but you could argue that the whole way up. I mean, 5 days ago, this was $100. Well, it wasn't worth $8 billion either, but it doesn't matter when, this story, and I've said this before, if there's a story going on, the valuation is meaningless until that story is over, and the story is obviously still going on. It will end badly. I'm telling you, like, this thing's always end badly. It's a huge bubble here, but who knows how big the bubble gets? I mean, this thing was 154 yesterday. It's 2 days ago. It was it's basically up 100 points in like 114 if I look at 17th. So that was the low. So we're basically up 100 points in 2 days. It's incredible.
They had sales of $9.7 million last quarter.
It's ridiculous. And now it's worth more than a market cap of Chipotle, market cap. There's multiple ones. Well, think about it, $17 billion.
Yeah.
I mean, they're basically saying this is going to be the stock that controls the entire industry. This is going to be it. And no other pot stock even matters. I mean, it's incredible. The other ones, it's funny, the other ones, and obviously they're all trading up here in sympathy to a certain extent, but Canopy Growth has not made a new high on the move here yet, although it's trying to this morning. CRON has not made a new high on the move, although it's trying. But this TLRY's got a mind of its own. I mean, this thing is just in full blast-off mode. I don't know where the party stops, but I think I tweeted this 3-4 days ago. It's like a hot potato now. And that was when it was 120. Now it's 220. So, I mean, I'm not putting my investment money in it, but I'm not arguing with you if you are. If you bought it 3 days ago, you doubled your money. So it's pretty incredible.
And Cajun One in the YouTube chat saying that the options are expensive. They're already high, and the market's not even open yet. That's based on the closing price.
Yeah, give me some of the options. You were talking about the contracts there, Spencer. And they remember the options market do not have a pre-market. So we're talking about, based on yesterday's closing prices. So these things are going to really explode here today with the stock up another 37%. Give us the details.
December 170s. How about $92?
You're paying half the premium
right off the bat.
So for an option, you're almost at a point, why not buy the stock? So anyways, December 170s, $92. That's crazy. That's unbelievable. I don't even know what to say.
It's going to go higher.
I've been around a lot of years. I was around in the tech bubble too, and there was some craziness during the tech bubble, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting older and I can't remember right, but I don't remember it being this crazy. I don't remember any stock going, up 100 points in 2 days, doubling in 2 days. Maybe, but this is an incredible move.
Yeah.
Scott's asking, can you even short it? I mean, if you can find a locate, I heard it's over $2 a day though. So basically, to get the locate, if you can find a locate, it's going to be $2 a day. So if you hold this for a week, you're going to pay 10 points. So basically, just for the ability to short it, and that's not considering your losses. I mean, the shorts are just getting absolutely murdered if you are short it, and I think you're seeing a lot of that too. Like anybody who was short this thing is now. You can't look at it like you can't analyze it and say, oh, it's worth this, so it's going to go back down. Because you know what? The pain trade here, you can't do anything about it here. It's going straight up in your face. Who knows where it stops? So you're not going to be solvent. What's that saying? The market can stay irrational much longer than you can stay solvent.
Longer than you can stay solvent. I'm bringing in Brent. I'm bringing in Brent right now from the news desk. Brent, wants something. You want to say something about this?
Hey everyone. Hey Dennis.
How's it going?
It's been a while.
Hey Brentster, how are you, buddy?
So good to be back. Dennis.
Yeah, great to hear from you.
I know, right? When is in something like TLRY,
yeah.
When does it tip the other way when everybody in the world is saying this thing's going to go down today and stuff? Like, how do you go?
Well, that's what it's been doing. That's a great point because everybody says it doesn't make any sense. It's going to go down.
But
and until you get people like me saying it now, like, I don't know where the top is. I'm not trying it. I haven't tried it from the short side. I would have tried it from the short side. I haven't been able to find a locate. So in the last week, because I would play it from the short side. I've played some of these from the short side. Not that I would try it long term. You'd have to stop out.
Right.
You wouldn't let this thing go, like, but you might try it for little scalps basically. But I mean, you can't find a locate, so it's a one-sided trade right now.
Dennis, I heard Deutsche Bank has a locate. I don't know if you can get access to them in a
you can go over there, and if you're obviously a client, you can get that, or if you're connected into there. But do you want to pay the $2.50 a day or whatever it is over there? And it's getting more expensive. So hold it for 5 days, you pay 10 points just for the ability to short it. So as soon as you locate it, you're paying $2.50. You're already down $2.50 in the trade. Not that matters. Trading with 2-point spread, but I mean, this is incredible. It's an incredible story, but the story will end.
Yep.
That's the bottom line. It will end. We just don't know where. And I'm not going to try to call the top on this. I tried to call the top on AMD multiple times, and it has worked to no avail, even though it feels like it's trying to top again here because it's not been going up for the last 3 or 4 days. But maybe that's just consolidation to go higher too. I mean, there's so many stocks, Brentster. Like, it's not just TLRY. There's a lot of stocks that just, it's the story. And when the story gets hot, we saw it with Bitcoin back in, November, December of last year, when it went from 6,000 to 20,000 in 3 weeks. I mean, this is how they go. And then eventually the bubble bursts, and that's it. And then they just continue to leak usually from there. So, but we remember HEAR we were talking about quite a bit, Turtle Beach. Look at that thing now.
Turtle Bay.
So that was straight up. Remember Turtle Beach, the headphone maker for all the video games? That went from 15 to 33 in 2.5 months. Now, it's nothing like this, but I mean, it was a big move. Now that thing's back to 17. So eventually these things end, but who knows when that is.
It does seem like the IPOs have been hot. TLRY,
they have.
Of course, Roku, the 1-year anniversary of their IPO is next Friday. That's been on fire recently. It just seems like we're in a hot IPO market right now.
People they're seeing easy cash be made. So you have even traders like me that are seasoned, and now I work for my money. I'm trading, more boring stocks. And, you'll work to try to make, portfolio managers are working to make 10, 15% a year. They're trying to beat the market, maybe 20% if it's a really good year for them. You're making 20% of this thing in a day. I mean, so there is like money chasing this, crazy money train. They see money being made so easily and they want to get involved. That's the hype. And that's why this thing's story. I mean, I look at my Twitter feed right now. Every other tweet is something about TLRY. So that's how this stuff goes. So, and you're making a good point with the new IPOs. People are looking for the next TLRY, and they're looking for that in the newer issues, the issues that, haven't been out there that long. And Roku, I mean, I look at that chart. That looks like it's ready to go here again. So is it going to go? I don't know. And is it worth $72? I don't think so. But right now, it looks like it's ready to go. It could go to $100. Who knows? But that's the way it's got a story, and that story is still intact too. As long as you got a story, valuation doesn't matter at all. When the story ends, that's when valuation starts to matter.
And we've got a number of IPOs just coming today and tomorrow. So just keep if that's your thing, just keep an eye on that, because we've got at least like 6 or 7 IPOs in the next couple of days. Tilray price at $17 a share. 17. So
I tried to buy this thing at $24, that pre-market, when the deal got announced for CGC with Constellation Brands. That was what kickstarted the entire marijuana rally, was when Constellation Brands put that big investment into CGC. And I went straight to Tilray that morning, and it was closed. It had closed at $24, and it popped immediately up to 27. And I think, I was sitting there, I was like, maybe it'll come back in, I could get 25. And I think I could have lifted 26, like in the pre-market that morning. That day it went to 39. It pulled back a little bit, and we got back, just in the mid-30s. But really, since that investment into the CGC, that's Constellation Brands investment in CGC, all of these marijuana stocks have been hot. But nothing like this one. You bring up the other ones, and they've doubled in the last month. This thing is up like 500% in the last month. So this one's just at another level. Maybe it's because the short interest was higher. Maybe it's because it hadn't really, been out as long. So it's a newer issue, and, still trying to figure out its pricing, but incredible moves.
And, people are asking me in the chat, first of all, yes, Tilray is in the alternative harvest, the cannabis ETF, the ETFMG. MJ is the symbol there. Tilray is, I think it's the largest holding in that fund.
Which in the MJ? In
the MJ, yeah. Canopy Growth.
Well, probably now.
Of course now, yeah. So yes, to answer your question, it is in that fund. I'm just more of a fan of playing ETFs over individual names, because I don't like picking names. The weighting, to answer your question, the weighting is just under 11%. Well, that was as of the close, so I don't even know what it would be.
So
now.
It's obviously continuing to go up as the stock continues to climb. But okay, we have 12 minutes talking about Tilray, talking about the marijuana stocks.
All right,
they're all up. So just quickly going through the other ones. CGC trading up 6% this morning. CRON trading up 10% here this morning. So it's a nice pop for Kronos Group. The one that they brought up to us the other day, NBEV, that's getting a little bit of a lift here too. And this isn't a pure play here, but it's a story now too. So watch this one today. It looks like it's getting hot. It's been taking off for 2 days here now. And it hasn't moved like the other ones yet. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing go crazy here today too. It is up already 13%. But again, hot potato, all these stocks. Don't get caught holding it when the music stops, because you will lose money if you're in this thing's too long. But this is one that hasn't really gone as much yet. So this one could go.
And props to
these
whoever,
are just potential. I'm not saying it's going to go. I'm just saying they have the potential to go.
Props to whoever brought up InBev on Monday, or maybe it was Friday, because someone was in our chat talking about that stock. All right, we're going to move on to what? To Tesla? I mean, God,
it's boring to talk about anything else. I know. But yeah, let's talk Tesla. I got out just in the nick of time, I guess, on my swing trade there that I had on, or whatever you want to call it. Anyways, it did fall yesterday. Bad headline there, obviously, with the regulators getting a little bit heavier on Musk. Give us the headline from yesterday. We'll break down the technicals.
The headline is that they have received criminal probe from the Department of Justice, and they say they are cooperating. And that is pretty much the extent of the news right now. This is, of course, related to Elon Musk and his Twitter and the go private and the 420 and the funding secured and all that good stuff.
Stock got down yesterday to 275. So lost 25 points on this. Got down to 270, 550. Bounced a little bit. Again, this is a headline stock here now. So as more headlines come out, the regulators are getting a little bit more strict with what was said, and they're going to be scrutiny here for all of that. It continues to get hit when those negative headlines happen. But the biggest risk for Tesla still is Musk. We don't know, what if he ends up going to jail or something, or what if he ends up, they kick him out, that's the wild card here. Because I'm not one of those that believe that Tesla will be better without Musk. I think if they lose Musk, I think the story takes a serious hit. And that's my concern is, this guy is there 20 hours a day sleeping there at the plant. He's a workaholic. And you look at it now and it's like, is he going to be running this company? next week or next year. Who knows? The board potentially wants him out. He's tweeted some stuff. This is scary. It's scary, for him on a personal level, but it's also scary for Tesla shareholders here. So until we get more clarity on what's going to happen here going forward, that's what made me nervous to sell the stock.
Baird came out negative on Tesla as a whole, but they did say that they do think it's more likely that Elon Musk just faces fines, not Tesla, but maybe Musk personally. I
don't think he's going to jail.
No,
so, but it's still a wild card. Like, we don't know.
Yeah.
So there's so many unknowns here. Is he, psychologically sound right now? There's, I read that, report. I don't know if it was from Huffington or where it was, but saying when you're only sleeping 4 hours a night, that takes long-term toll on your body. I mean, from not only a psychological perspective, but just from a physical perspective as well. So lots of concerns around Musk, and that's why Tesla remains out of favor here right now. It was in favor until that tweet happened, and I firmly believe if he wouldn't have tweeted out about the 420 takeout price, I think we would be looking at the stock around 360 right now. So, but because all that happened, and then that's off the table, that's why the bull thesis has taken a major hit.
You also have Charlie Gasparino tweeting that bankers are urging Tesla to recruit other managers to help Elon Musk in the operational area of the company. So, everyone just wants to help him. Does he want to help himself? I think is the question here. All right, sticking in the legal trouble realm, let's go to ABBV because they had a bit of a move yesterday.
Yeah.
They got sued by the California Department of Insurance related to illegal kickbacks. Very good.
So AbbVie here, I own this one in my investment portfolio. I've had it since birth, basically, which meaning I got it from the Abbott Labs spinoff. So I think I'm sticking with it. But there is, technically speaking here, it does start to look concerning. I mean, it's an ugly chart. If you go to the weeklies, you'll see what I'm looking at. It looks a little bit heavy, but it's not only AbbVie, so they have their own problems with the story here. But just the overall, we've been talking the biotechs. The biotechs don't look as healthy as they did before. They've had some pretty good runs, although yesterday's candle helped a bit. But I mean, I look at stocks like Celgene, I look at stocks like Biogen. They're starting to, yesterday's candle helped. It helped them a bit, but they're still looking a little bit like they've ran up into resistance here. I mean, Allergan's had a pretty incredible run from 150 to 190, and it's struggled here for a while. So they're doing work. They're trying to work themselves to maybe eventually go higher, but right now, biotechs don't look nearly as healthy as some of the other stocks. So I'm just throwing it in there just with AbbVie, and then it's got its own issues. So AbbVie, I don't know if you're long-term, which I am. I think I'm sticking with it. Still got the 4.16% dividend, which is nice. But short-term here, it looks like I'd be ringing the register if I was in it for a trade.
What about healthcare as a whole? I think it's been the strongest sector in the quarter. For the Q3 for the September quarter in the S&P 500, but biotechs are looking weak to you. But what about just like the XLV?
I mean, that contains a lot of other stocks as well.
Okay.
So when you look at the health, and let's just go grab the components here. And can you do that in the Benzinga Pro? Is that in there? XLV holds?
I believe so, but
if we can't, and that's what we'll have the developers work on that. But if you want, you can go to like an ETF channel or anything like that. If you're just looking for a free online source for it, you just type in XLV, it'll tell you what all the components are. But you've got stocks in there like Johnson & Johnson, United Health. This is not a biotech play. It's more. It's got biotechs in there.
Okay.
But J&J is the top component at 10%. So that's consumer products. I mean, you could say, yeah, they got some drugs too, but that's mostly consumer products. United Health, Pfizer, Merck, which is traditional big pharma, then AbbVie and Amgen are in there, and Abbott Labs, and Eli Lilly, Bristol Myers, but a little bit different story, and that's why the XLV performs much differently than the ABBV because they have significantly different components. XLV is in a nice uptrend. It's been an uptrend for a while. I mean, we are right near, is this all-time highs? Yeah, I believe it's all-time highs here for the XLV. So looking like it's knocking on the door, trying to break out through 94 there again. But if you look at Johnson & Johnson, which is the major component, that has come back a long ways from the lows it was in September when it got down to 118. We're now 140. A lot of these consumer product stocks have come back a long ways. Procter & Gamble, that everybody hated when it was 72, 73, quietly back up here to $84. So again, contrarian investing working in these stocks. So if you're buying when everybody hates them and there's value there, sometimes that just, plug your nose, stick in your long-term portfolio, and don't look at it. And if you're buying good companies, a lot of times that works.
All right, our mandatory 10-minute Tilray update. We're at
230 now.
228, 230.
What are we at on market cap, guys?
Oh gosh,
What is this? 18 billion now? 17, 18
something
billion?
like that. Well, what are they at? 90 million shares outstanding. So I don't have a big enough calculator at handy right now, but yeah.
Anyway, somebody's got it there in the chat. I would imagine it's 17 or 8. I think it was like 13 billion when it closed, up another 50%. It's up 50% today. This is incredible. This is one of the.
This open's going to be fun. This open's going to be fun.
It feels like, and if you went back to the tech bubble, I should take back what I said before. You did see stocks doing this on a daily basis, but it's just because we're so removed from that. Like the market's much more rational than it was back in 1999 when you had stocks that had, 100 million in sales trading for $2-3 billion. I mean, this is, at another level here, but it's not like most stocks are doing that. Most stocks are actually rational out here right now. This is just story. And I'll say it again. If you've got a good story, valuation does not matter in the short term. Valuation always eventually matters, but it's a matter of how long the story lasts. And right now, this story is everybody wants the easy money. They watch the stock double in 2 days. They're like, I want to be in that. So you have literally people, it's not just a short squeeze. It is partially a short squeeze, but you have people probably putting real money into this thing too. So again, game of hot potato. $130, $230 in 2 days doesn't seem sustainable to me, but can it go to 300? Yeah, it can go wherever it wants. I mean, it doesn't matter. What's valuation doesn't matter. It's just numbers. So it's just a matter of supply and demand. If more people are going to buy it because it's got the story, it's going to continue to go higher. It's when that story breaks. So it's when that story starts to look like, and the story breaks quickly. How does the story break? It breaks when the stock falls 35% or 30% in an hour. Then everybody's like, oh, now you have overhead supply all of a sudden. Now you have people caught. We don't have anybody caught right now. There's no pain. Stock's never been up here. Everybody who's bought the stock is up money. So there's no pain in it right now. Eventually, you will get that whoosh. And we had a little bit of it there when the stock went from $100 down to almost 70. That was back just a week and a half ago. But we're setting up. Eventually, we will have a whoosh where this stock falls 30% an hour. And everybody's going to be like, what happened? Well, what happened is it should have never been up here in the first place. But here it is. It's up 52% this morning. So, I mean, how do you argue? Like, if you bought it yesterday, it's unbelievable.
Joe Wiesenthal from Bloomberg highlighted an interesting thread on Reddit from, I guess, last week, where someone was commenting how trading almost feels like a game to him. For people who grew up with video games and hitting buttons that have an effect on a screen but have no real consequences. You wake up on your phone, you look at your phone, you open up your Robinhood app, your whatever app, your brokerage app, and you make a trade, and it's numbers on a screen. It's numbers on a screen. For people.
Well, that's all it is right now.
Right.
This is all it is.
Just numbers.
There's no. You can crunch whatever numbers you want on this. It's not going to come up with a value for this thing. It's just it's.
Well,
it's
no,
just a story. It's just numbers right now. Numbers on a screen.
I'm saying that maybe people just don't take it. It's not the same as physical tangible money in your hand. If you lose $1,000 from your pocket, it's a big deal. If you lose $1,000 on your screen, it's whatever.
Well, I wouldn't say go that far. I would just say when traditionally, if you look at 90% of the market, it's analysts are sitting there crunching numbers, and it's kind of based on valuation. A stock that makes $2 a share will usually be traded with a P, just average stock, say it's 20, market multiple. Stocks would be about $40. You could actually do this, just, randomly, like look at what the company makes. You can kind of almost guess where the share price is going to be. In this case, none of that matters. So once you throw valuation out the window, which you are in this case, at least right now, then it's just numbers, and it's going to go wherever it wants. If there's more buyers and sellers, it's going to continue to go higher. More active buyers and sellers, and that's it. So until you get that whoosh where you get some people caught down 30% one day, then that can help to make the top form. But right now, it's just a full parabolic road. It feels like it's going to do that eventually here today. I don't know if we're going to go to 300. I don't know where we're going to top out here. It feels like it feels like upside capitulation today. I mean, the stock is doubling. It's up 50%. It's basically doubled since yesterday morning. I mean, if you look at this, where was it yesterday morning? 132. So from Friday. Let's go to Friday. It's doubled since Friday. That's unbelievable.
I'm just worried that people are being a little bit too cavalier, and I'm like the exact opposite. I don't do anything until I've overthought it for like 2 weeks, and I've like tired myself out by thinking about it. But yeah, I don't know. I just worry that people are just being too cavalier about this. And, it's so easy. It's free. It's so easy to make a trade. It's never been easier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. It's very easy to trade here now too. Like if you think back in the 80s, you had to call your broker.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, my average for my trading, I would say, okay, so I've got the day trading account and I got the long-term investing account. The long-term investing account, I think about the stocks usually at least for a couple days. I'm analyzing, fundamentals. I'm doing more fundamental analysis and, crunching some numbers and trying to figure out, looking at the technicals for the timing. But on the day trading, like my scalping stuff, I would say I make my decision of to buy or to sell, like if I'm going to make a trade on it, in under 5 seconds.
But you're getting
under 5 seconds.
But that's like a trade that's going to last you what, like a couple hours tops?
Yeah. So I'm looking at the technicals. I'm looking at order flow. I'm looking at something, but I've got scanners that I'm running, obviously, that are spinning me ideas, and I'm like, that's a good idea, and it goes from bringing it up to execution. I'm one click to execution. And obviously I used to run a lot of automated trading strategies too, but I don't run as much automation as I used to. So yeah, so I'm about 5 seconds from
you have
idea generation to execution on my day trades.
You have screens. I'm worried. It's so easy. It's the same thing as sending a text message. You open up, you turn on your iPhone, you swipe your finger 3 or 4 times, bingo, bango, you're done. You know what I mean? It's not. It is that easy, and I'm just worried that people aren't looking at anything. But
there's lots of things to worry about on this one, Spencer. This is not going to end pretty. There's going to be some people who lose a lot of money in this, but right now, there's nobody losing money in this. This 236 is making all time. The only people losing money in this are the people who are betting against it. So I'm glad I'm not one of those shorts. That's all I'll say. I'm glad I'm not one of those shorts because holy cow. Unbelievable.
All right. MGM moving this morning. There was an earlier report from the New York Post that Starboard had taken an activist position in the company. Bloomberg is disputing that report now, so it's giving back a lot of its gains from a few minutes ago.
So the stock was trading up. I didn't see where it was trading this morning.
28. What did it get to? 28.64.
I see some 28. Yeah. So what is the story? Give me the story.
So the New York Post had reported that Starboard had taken a stake. Well, did they report a position size? No, Starboard. I was saying Starboard. Starboard. And Starboard is the hotel. Yeah. So they reported that Starboard has taken a sizable position. Those are the words they used in MGM. Bloomberg came out and disputed that, saying that they have no position in MGM.
So we don't know if Starboard's in or Starboard's not in, but it looks like it's a no position here. So anyway, so you see the pop. And when Starboard gets in something there, it's, obviously an activist. So they're looking, like shake up the company. Almost think of it like, back from Wall Street, Gordon Gekko style. He gets in there, shaking it up, trying to find value, spin this off, do this. So when you get these big activist firms in there, the stocks do pop 3-4% on that. So I think if, it was confirmed that they were in, I wouldn't be surprised if MGM was trade up in the 28s or 29s, significantly higher. So we don't know if they're in or if they're not in. We have conflicting reports here. Right now it's trading up slightly here because obviously there was an initial report that they were in, but we don't know. So 27.86 is where it's trading. Technically speaking, stocks in a downtrend. All the casino stocks have just been ugly. I mean, I guess it's why they're maybe more prone to activists. I mean, Las Vegas Sands has been straight down. Wynn Resorts can't seem to find a bid. It gets a little bit of life last week, giving it back here again. This was a $200 stock back in May. It's now a $132 stock. The casinos have all kinds of problems. My buddy's out there in Vegas, and he says that Wynn Resorts, man, that's like ghost town over there. So I don't know if that's, the case. Really? They've obviously got the Macau business and everything too, but Wynn has always been off the strip. So like you just think about it, and that's not hurt them before. The people have went there, but maybe they're not going there as much. I mean, there's so many different casinos that are all there, and Wynn is kind of like up at the top of the strip. They're kind of over, in a different area, but I don't know. Stocks and downtrends, seems like you always just want to sell the pops. And stocks and uptrends, you want to buy the dips. And right now, these are clear downtrends. So if you go with that thesis, you sell the pop.
All right, let's move on to ratings here. We got about 5 minutes before we're going to bring on our guest for the day. There was a couple that I thought were notable. I guess we'll start with the upgrades. One I liked was E-Trade catching an upgrade at Jefferies today from hold to buy, ETFC.
Have these things ever been killed too? The online brokerages have not performed well, and I don't know what's going on. If there's going to be maybe more regulation with some of what's happening in the industry here, but the online brokers have been in a tough sell here for a tough market for the last 3 months. Interactive Brokers has went from 80 down to 58. E-Trade, ETFC has went from 66 to, or actually it was higher than that. I'm going to go back. It was, if I go to the weeklies, yeah, $66 down to $53 now. You can look at Ameritrade, and obviously AMTD is off the highs as well. But the online brokerages have not really had a good time here in the last couple of months. So again, trend is not your friend here. We get the upgrade. We get a little relief rally, but I see overhead supply all over the place. This is, again, just going with the theory that they seem to sell pops in stocks and downtrends and buy dips in stocks and uptrends. This is one that you'd be selling the rip.
This is interesting too because I'm looking at the analyst ratings here for E-Trade, and they across the board they are buy, overweight, strong buy, outperform everybody.
And they're all going to play catch up eventually.
But here you have an upgrade going against the grain. So, like a preemptive upgrade to a contrarian call. But so this one is, I think, will be one to watch just to see if the analysts do play catch up in that sense. What else happened this morning? We had
go with the ratings. Just give the other one.
Yeah.
Juniper upgraded to Mura.
Yep.
SunPower SPWR was upgraded. Credit Suisse. We had a big Morgan Stanley note on the oils. You've got some oils trading up, some trading down. Oil itself is pretty flat here this morning. Last time I looked anyways, we're slightly down. But you've got Morgan Stanley coming out with an overweight on BHGE, Rig, Halliburton. They've got an underweight on NEDO and DRQ, I believe. I have some positions in some of these just off the ratings changes. These are just day trades.
Rig also catching an upgrade from, who was that?
Was Rig upgraded?
Yeah, Wells Fargo to outperform.
Okay.
You mentioned Juniper, SunPower. You mentioned those were the biggest upgrades. Downgrades, we had nothing super crazy. KBR catching downgrade from Macquarie. That was down to neutral. That was kind of the big one I saw as far as upgrades land. 832, Dennis. Do we have any notable imbalances from
take a look.
morning?
Alibaba 57,000 to buy. M long Alibaba is a day trade. I will be getting out of that today. It's just a pair trade. I've got AABA against it. So you know how I do that, BABA versus AABA. I trade that almost every day, and I have that on right now. So that's just a stat arb trade. That's nothing positional. Also GE every day, 103,000 to sell. General Electric. Square got some love on Kramer last night. Was trading up there because they had the CEO on. It's got 58,000 to buy here. Interesting enough, and we were talking about a couple of these like Roku, but Square got hit there pretty hard a couple days ago. Inside day yesterday. I don't know what to say here. I mean, I look at this.
I kind of like it.
A little bit of consolidation here. As it continue to move higher? Probably. I mean, it's still got the story. It's still loved by the street. There's going to be pullbacks. There's going to be dips. Valuation, maybe doesn't make sense at these prices, but it doesn't matter. Again, it's still got a story.
It looks like the entire fintech sector has been hot. Just looking at the FINX fintech ETF.
What's that one? FINX?
Yeah.
I've never traded that.
Right. Well, it's relatively new, and I don't bring up ETFs to you guys because you guys always poop on my ETFs. You guys don't trade them very often, and you guys, I never heard of that, so I don't bring them up very often. But that is one that's on my radar. It just seems like the whole sector kind of has been hot. Whether it continues, I don't know. Square looks all right to me.
It's the same stocks. It's been the same stocks.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason. The stock is still in a clear uptrend. So
Yeah.
PayPal, same thing. I do own PayPal. It's not obviously been nearly as good as the Square with moving up here. It's one that I wish I would have bought. I've traded it multiple times, but I mean, you just look at the weeklies, $20 a year and just over a year ago. Now we're 80. I mean, it's been a big move, but the trend is still your friend.
All right, 8:34. We're going to take a quick break and grab our guest of the day, Chris Brecher. BrecherTrading.com is his firm, and we'll be right back in a moment. All right, and welcome back, everyone. Pre-market prep. Spencer Israel, Dennis Dick, now joined by Chris Brecher, BrecherTrading.com. Chris, how's it going today?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Doing excellent. Chris, I've been meaning to bring this up on this show for a while now. I don't think we have, but there is a big rebalancing happening in the S&P 500 on Friday at the close. I know it's been on your radar. Essentially, for those who don't know, we're rebranding the telecom sector, all that and the three companies in it. We're going to take a bunch of companies out of technology and out of consumer discretionary, and we're going to move them into this new sector known as, I forget what the new name is going to be called, but they're just kind of rebranding the entire thing. Facebook and Google are going to make up 45% of the new telecom sector when the rebalancing occurs. So Chris, how are you kind of approaching this from a trading standpoint?
Well, the first thing is that it's also Netflix and Disney. So in the one article I was reading, it was talking about that there were some, obviously people with slide rules. They're deciding what to do. They're saying there's 8 million shares of Facebook to sell, 2 million of Google, 6.7 of Disney, 20 million of Comcast. And they didn't put in there what Netflix is, but Netflix is in there too. But the ones I just showed you are by far the biggest. The key in there is there's certain funds like Vanguard that have already started rebalancing. And I think that's why Facebook has been weak. I mean, obviously when it broke 175, we were bearish and thought it might fill the gap of 155. But I think one reason that Google and Facebook have acted so poorly is in advance of this, that a lot of people are positioned, or let's put it this way, if you want to buy it, you're probably going to wait until Friday to buy it. So Facebook and Google are probably going to be great buys after Friday. Right now, probably the way I'm going to play it is take a Facebook or Google. If they have a little bit of a rally, I'll try to buy some out of the money puts, close to the strike price, probably Friday. So let me give you, for instance, let's say Facebook on Friday is 160.30, where it closed yesterday. By Friday at noon, the 160 puts will probably be 20 cents, 30 cents. It's worth a shot. I mean, you never know.
Sellers coming at the close.
Yeah, just because the time premium is dead is usually, even though there's a rebalance, there are a lot of people say, oh, it's already happened, whatever, but they care more about the volatility into the event. So if on Wednesday and Thursday, the stock's just sitting around here, those will go to almost nothing. Same with Google. Now, Google always has the expensive premium, but I'm telling you, there are two things against Google. One is this rebalancing. The other is there's one that a lot of people don't talk about is the quarterly SPX rebalance, which is also this Friday. Now, this is on triple witching. S&P does it on this Friday because they say that's the most liquid day of the quarter. So what happens is the companies that have had the biggest buybacks during the quarter have to be sold to rebalance because they have less stock outstanding. And Google is one of the big buyers. In fact, the best way to find what stocks have bought back the most stock, because that's like a dirty little secret. Sure, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, they all know about it. But the best way is to go to the SPYB. That's the S&P buyback ETF. And then you press holdings, and it updates every day. So the stocks that buy back the most stock are the ones that have the biggest holding in the ETF, and those are the ones that are probably going to be sold the most on Friday. It's a pretty interesting thing, but it's SPYB as in boy, and then go to holdings, and you'll see what's bought back the most of their stock as a percentage of their capitalization this quarter. It's a really cool thing.
Is there a website we can go to see what is going to actually, which specific stocks are going to be rebalanced?
I can read them to you.
No,
I can read them to you if you'd like. I've got.
Where are you getting that?
I did my research last week.
Oh, Chris, where are you getting your information for that?
Well, there's a couple of ways. One of them is I just go to the actual site for the SPYB, just the S&P site, and then I go to holdings. I look at all the holdings. But also I go to, let me get it in front of me. It's, let me see.
I can tell you where
there's Quant Share. There's a lot of sites which will show every stock's buyback. The problem is you don't know if they bought it back this quarter. Like
Right.
Amazon has a stock buyback, and they hardly ever buy back their stock. So I just accumulate a watch list of companies with big buybacks, but the SPYB really helps.
Dennis, to answer your question, I'll put them in the chat, but there are a couple good articles from CNBC and Seeking Alpha. I also went to the SPDR with the Spiders website, and you can look at the sort of the breakdown there. There's some PDFs that sort of break down who is moving from what. So essentially, Google and Facebook are going to make up the almost half, 45% of the XLC of the new communication services sector. But beyond that, we're going to get Comcast. Basically, a lot of media stocks are moving over into this new sector. So Comcast, Charter, Fox, CBS, if it's a media stock, it's probably moving over. Activision Blizzard, EA, Twitter, Take-Two, they're all moving over as well. So anything in that realm is moving over to this new sector. So that's a safe bet. If you don't know what's moving, just go to that sector, and there's a decent chance it is. But do you expect, Chris, this volatility to be happening kind of throughout the next couple of days, or mostly, before heading into the close and afterwards on Friday?
It's a good question. I think well, there are a couple of ways to look at it. And there's the other thing that we haven't talked about is that the buyback blackout period is coming up, which is another thing that's going to take in a lot of volatility. I think a lot of this is probably going to happen on Friday. That there's the Jewish holidays today. There's a lot less trading. I have a feeling a lot of people are waiting till the last minute. And I think a way you could see that is the S&P itself is near an all-time high. And if the S&P, a lot of people think that one of the reasons it's near an all-time high is the tremendous amount of buybacks. So if it has to be rebalanced, the S&P, you would have thought there'd be some sell-off beforehand. Instead, we're at a new high. So I have a feeling this is going to be at the last minute. Facebook and Google, I think they're going to be just heavy the rest of the week until they actually might go up at the close because people are too short. But I think the market as a whole is going to have some wild moves the last 3 hours on Friday.
What else,
Chris? Just before I just want to go one more point there. You mentioned earlier that a lot of times these are good actually buys after the event. So basically, the sellers, do the rebalance, push the stock price maybe too low. Would you be looking to buy the close on some of these stocks potentially for maybe a relief pop on Monday?
Usually what I see on this is if you look at Apple, let's say September 15th of last year, Apple had a rebalance and got hit, not in an index, just for the S&P rebalance. Apple actually went up on Friday, but because it had to be matched the big old sell orders, actually the stock got hit the beginning of the next week. What I would do on a Google or a Facebook is I would look at the charts also, the support, like Facebook has support at 155. If it rallies a little on Friday, or let's say unchanged, but there was a big sell, so the market makers on the New York Stock Exchange had to take the other side, you might see a test of the lows of, let's say, Thursday on Facebook. So let's say it sells off into Thursday, rallies a little on Friday. I would be buying Monday when it tests the lows and then have the lows as a stop. That's what I do in Google and Facebook.
All right, Chris, before we let you go, was there anything else sort of on your radar for the coming days and weeks?
Yeah, it's interesting. The bond market, real quick, the bond market has been selling straight off. And there were a lot of people, including Jeff Gunlap of Double Line, the bond king. He sort of took Bill Gross's place, talking about massive short positions in the notes and the bonds. It ends up that China, with this tariff stuff, has stopped buying our bonds. It just came out in Bloomberg yesterday. Their holdings, they let some of their holdings expire. But in my opinion, it looks like what's happening is there's a reason that there were so many people short the bonds. It's because they knew that the issue of bonds for debt, that it's just like a secondary where a stock has a big short interest prior to issuing the stock. I think if the bond market stays this weak, it's near the lows for the year, that's gonna start hurting the SPX for the next month. No doubt, like it did in February.
Chris, yeah, go for it.
I was going to say last question, TLRY. Are you watching this story?
Oh, man, that's not what I was going to ask.
It's funny in there is, I bought 10,000 yesterday on the close. That's no. All kidding aside, It's very much like a lot of new issues. So I think after 3 months, so it came out in July, there's half the outstanding can be sold by insiders after 6 months. So usually short sellers start to position after 3 months. That's usually the top. So look for the end of October to be like the top in there.
Oh, you're saying we have 5 more weeks of this madness? I can't.
Well,
It'd be
I think
$1,000
it'll be like Twilio. Look at a chart of Twilio 3 months after it's a new issue. It went from 20 to like 60. I know it's not on the degree of TLRY, but what happens in there is they usually sell off now. I mean, this is really a blow off, but then they try to test the high out into October, and then it just dies for the next 3 months as people are worried about insiders dumping.
All right. Chris Brecher from Brecher Training has been on with us. Tremendous insights, Chris. Thank you so much for the time. Great stuff. I appreciate you coming on.
Hey, anytime. Thanks
All
again.
right.
Have a good one.
You too. Man, Dennis. 5 more weeks of TLRY. I can't.
I don't think I can take it.
I
I
can't.
think we're getting to a point where we're gonna see, this whoosh down that I was talking about here very soon. If it's not today, it's going to be tomorrow. This thing is gone into parabolic mode. This is usually the sign that eventually this is going to blow up, because everybody just has to buy it here now, it seems like. So this feels like upside capitulation here today. Where we stop, who knows? But I kind of feel like it's going to be the top today. So is it going to be at 300? It's going to be at 230. I don't know, but I feel like it's going to be today. So I don't think you're going to have 5 more weeks of this.
All right. Getting some tickers now from the chat in no particular order. Let's go with GTHX. I think they had news. I thought I saw it yesterday or this morning when I came in.
Give me the symbol again.
GTHX, G1 Therapeutics. Oh, they had an offering, a 3 million share offering at $60 a share.
That's 57. So is there something else to that? Because usually they trade down to their offering price. This is significantly below the offering price, which is surprising. I wonder if there's another headline. I'm going to look here just as well. Not following the story at all. So common stock offer, yeah, they priced it at 63 million shares. Often those things like to bottom near the 60. So the people who are playing the arbitrage there and buying this thing at 60 this morning are probably getting hurt. So it's 57.75. So I'm not sure if there's another headline driving us down there, but and excuse my voice here. I've got the cold. I'm really fighting it.
He's fighting through
today.
it.
That's why I'm kind of all over the place, even with my speaking. I'm really fighting this flu bug here today. But GTHX, usually you see those offering prices act as a floor, and that's not the case here. So something going on.
All right. I also had from the YouTube chat, Facebook and Google. We kind of just talked about that. Did you have any specific thoughts there on one of those two?
I mean, I own both these in my long-term investment portfolio. So long-term, Google's been a great one for me. I think I don't even know. I think $250. I think is where I bought this. So it's 1,161. Nice. So Google was a good one. Facebook I bought recently on the whoosh. Obviously, it was too soon. I bought a half position. It seems like whenever I buy a half position, I'm wrong. So I just stop doing that. Be more convicted with my buys, either buy it or sell it with a full position. When it seems like when I buy a half, it's like I wasn't confident enough to come in, and those usually seem to be bad ones. But anyways, the stocks that we talked about yesterday, I mean, the social media stocks are out of favor here right now. Yes, they Twitter came back a little bit there yesterday, but I mean, you look at it, TWTR, Facebook, Snap, all 3 of those just in the gutter here as of late. So until story changes or we get an analyst to defend them, trend is not your friend.
All right, a bit of a lower priced stock here, but TRXC. I don't see any headlines on it this morning, but do you have or can you
breakout? I don't follow the story at all either. Know nothing about this company fundamentals. I will just say it broke out through a major resistance point of $6. And if you're playing a breakout, I mean, this looks like it's in full breakout mode here. So if I was playing breakout, you want when you are playing breakouts, you want the stock to stay breaking out so the breakout doesn't become a fake out. So I would say if you're buying it here this morning at 639, I'd probably stop out under $6. But if it's going to remain a breakout, sometimes these things just break out, they go. And this thing's been consolidating for 3 months, bumping its head up against 6. So it's a nice clean breakout here, up again here this morning. So it looks good for the longs, at least right now.
And then we had Netflix and Micron. And I know we talk about those guys, pretty often, but it's sort of the same story there.
Netflix, huge candle yesterday. I mean, I don't know. What was the story with Netflix yesterday? Because this stock took off.
They won some Emmy Awards. No, that's not it.
What was it? Was there a story?
They won some Emmys, I was saying, but no, that's not why. I don't.
Anyway, it's up another $6. Stock is all of a sudden coming back into favor. I mean, this stock starts getting above 380 and it could be 420 in a hurry. So, I mean, valuation has never been attractive. That's why I don't own it in my investment portfolio. But as a trade, I think pullbacks are going to be bought. I think the Netflix story is starting to come back around. And if the Netflix story starts to get hot again, stock could be back at all-time highs by the end of the year.
I think this morning Goldman raised their price target from 360 to 420. 420. Can't see
Guggenheim, I think, is what Hunter was saying.
Guggenheim. Okay.
I don't know. I'm not sure, but it's up another 6 points. So you are at resistance here, 373, 375 is where it struggled here in August and September. So that's the word of caution. Really, 380. It needs to get above 380, and then it starts to open up. So, but it's been doing a lot of work. It's been slowly clawing its way back here. So the Netflix chart is looking like it's trying to get up here and try to test resistance once again.
All right, Dennis. 8:52 here. Got about 8 minutes left in this show. Was there anything on your list?
Let's try to breathe.
Okay.
I'm so
All
congested.
Right. I'm sorry. Here, you breathe.
You asked me. I do have some other stocks on my list. So clean breakouts for Roku, which is what I was saying. If you're playing the breakouts, Roku looks like it broke out yesterday. Nike too. Nike took out that 85 seller. You're going to probably look at the book. There's probably another one at 86. It seems like every point on Nike is where your next resistance point is. But just go to the book here and just see if there's anything jumping out at me. 24,000, not that much. 87 and a quarter, 60,000 shares. Just looking at the book. And then so that's the next big level, actually, is 87 and a quarter. But that was such a buying opportunity that day at $79 when it opened right at that low with the commercial. And it's never looked back since. And Nike clean breakout, new all-time highs. Yeah.
And earnings, next Friday, I want to say. Let me confirm that real quickly. I know the next week.
A Red Hat tonight. When's Nike? Nike's next week?
Yes. Nike is the 25th. That's Friday, right? After the bell. No, that's not Friday. That's what day is the 25th, Dennis? I don't know. I don't have a calendar in front of me, but it's
Thursday?
Next week. It's Tuesday.
No,
Tuesday after the bell.
I can't do math in my head now. My head is so I can't even think. It's amazing that I can even talk. And I'm sorry, if I'm not making any sense today, but that's because I have so much congestion going on.
I appreciate you powering through with us, Dennis. I appreciate you powering through. As far as earnings,
2 young kids, they're both sick, and of course I get it then too. And couple that with the bee stings from Monday, and I am just feeling like I got hit by a truck.
All right. Well, there are 2 earnings that we're going to get today after the Red Hat, which we kind of discussed yesterday. With the rating, but also Herman Miller, MLHR, also due to report after the close. Do you want to look at Red Hat again? I mean, what did the stock do?
I'm long it right now. You know how I like to buy into the run-up, looking for the earnings run-up. It has not happened here yet, so this one I might end up taking a loss on it. I often buy them 2-3 days before the earnings and then sell them before the report, trying to extract the alpha of the potential run-up. Has not happened on Red Hat, so I'm down a little bit this one. I will be selling it before the earnings, though, so I'll probably be selling it near the open or possibly throughout the day here, but not just a short-term trade, trying to extract the alpha before the event. Has not run up, though. Micron reports tomorrow, I believe.
Yes, they do.
Micron.
Yes, they do.
And it has run up. So this, I did not have this on for a trade. I might put it on. It's actually up another 50 cents here. And interesting enough, it's actually starting to come back here a little bit. I bought more in my investment portfolio at 45. Got my average cost base down at 52 or something right now, but it's still not been great. I'm a full position in Micron here now. But it's been an impressive 3-4 day run for them. A lot of these chip stocks have come back from the lows from a couple days ago. Applied Materials trying to show a little bit of life. It really needs to get above 40 to really show life. LRCX, same story. At least it's not going down anymore, so that's a good thing. But again, trend is still clearly down for these stocks. So if you are buying them, you are fighting the trend.
All right, mandatory TLRY update. We are off the highs here, folks. It's over. The high of 239. Oh no, we're down to.
You think it's over?
No, I don't know.
I think it's gonna. I have no idea. I think it's gonna top out today, though. I don't know what the price is gonna be. I think we're gonna look at this, and you can write this down right now. We're going to see, I think, September 19th as the day TLRY topped out. I don't know if it's gonna be at 230, at 250, 300, but I feel like today is the day.
Wow, that's a bold claim. You're really fighting the tape on that one.
I think this is it. I think this is the capitulation day where everybody has to be in. I feel like it's this morning. You got Kramer. He basically gives a bearish rant and cautions all the buyers on Mad Money right now. They buy it in his face. So last night on Mad Money, has the CEO on there, hints about the offering, And while he was trying to get the CEO really wasn't hitting about it. It was Kramer that was hitting about it. But even at the end of Mad Money at 7 o'clock, he gives a word of caution to the buyers of Tilray. So that was not bullish. They bought it right in his face. They're completely ignoring. Usually Kramer can knock a stock down. I mean, he is influential. They did not care. So right now they're in no care mode. They're just buying no matter what, hand over fist. I know how the story ends. I just don't know the price it's going to end at.
All right, question in the chat now about Boeing. I did see a headline go by really quickly this morning in one of the newsletters I read that they are going to increase their production. Let me see if I can pull it up in front of me real quickly. I don't even remember where I saw it, honestly.
These are trade war stocks. They bounced back. It looks like, or we have a deal with China. Don't we have a deal? We don't know yet. They've come back on the potential that there's going to be a deal. Caterpillar's come back. They're all moving together here. But the one thing is you're coming into resistance here now again. So Boeing ran into resistance up in the 370s. Well, you're only 7 points. So risk reward here doesn't set up as well as it did before. That being said, it's trying to resume its uptrend. I think if you can get out there and get above, the 370 area where we topped out in June, then you start to think, well, this can continue. So I think buyers are going to be there on pullbacks on this, but I don't want to chase it.
Here's one we haven't discussed all show. Did we? AMD? Do we bring that up all show?
No, I brought up AMD.
This might be your record.
It's moving opposite to all the chips. So when I can come in, and if you see Micron trading up, you see Applied Materials trading up, you see Intel trading up. Well, actually, Intel's trading down. So I'm looking like I'm not correct on that one. But a lot of times you see it just moving opposite. I don't know why that is, but it's like when Micron gets a buyer, AMD gets a seller. I've just identified that over the last couple of weeks. And Micron's getting bid right now, and AMD is getting sold. So is this just work to go higher? Maybe. I don't know when the story ends here. I feel like it's overvalued here now. But that being said, there's some analysts that are coming out and saying this thing is going to make some serious money in 2019 and 2020. And it hasn't made money for years. So it's hard to fight the tape. The tape's been straight up. I would say as long as it's above 30, bulls are in control still.
All right, 8:58 now. Just I saw someone in the chat ask about IPOs. The few that are scheduled for today: Bank 7. I'm seeing Elanco Animal Health, ELAN, Farfetch, FTCH, YMAB, and Eventbrite also scheduled for next couple of days. Dennis, did you have any final thoughts as we sort of wrap this show?
I mean, just because on the IPOs, everybody thinks, I just gonna buy the IPOs.
No, be careful, please.
They don't all go up.
Please be careful.
What's that?
I said, please be careful.
Yeah, be careful with all these things because that's the most volatility on the day one of trading, day two of trading, because they're trying to figure out where valuation is. And if it's got a good story, sometimes these things can continue. But again, sometimes these things don't go up too. So just because having a new IPO doesn't mean it's going to go straight up. Sometimes these things open too high and go straight down. So just be cautious if you're trading those. Major risk, good. Obviously, it's all risk return, and there is some major money to be made trading IPOs, but it's also major money to be lost. It's not my cup of tea. I rarely trade an IPO on day one because they're just too volatile. I don't like the volatility. I like to control the risk, and they're hard to control the risk when things are moving around 5-10%. Thoughts overall here, we're pulling back a little bit. I mean, the S&Ps, if you look at SPY, had a nice candle yesterday. I mean, the trend is still up here. Trend is still your friend. I don't see any reason why they're going to stop buying the dips. There are certain sectors that are out of favor, but value stocks have come back here a little bit as of late. Actually, I can tell because my portfolio has been doing better as of late. My long-term investment portfolio, so I have a lot of stocks with low PEs in there. Those are the stocks that seem to be lifting the S&Ps as of late, where some of the higher multiple stocks have come off. Well, obviously not considering Tilray in there, but it's cycles. I mean, sometimes value is in favor, sometimes growth is in favor. Right now, it feels like it's a little more of a value market the last couple of weeks, but that could cycle again too. So again, just try to identify those trends as early as you can, and just be cautious if you're trading some of this momentum stuff because it often does end up badly.
All right, I'm seeing Fitbit spiking up about 5%. I don't know if there's any news on that right now, but keep that on your radar. And that is going to be it.
Fitbit's, it's taking off here right now. I'm just going to go look here too. I'll try to see if I can find a headline as well.
I don't know what the news is. Because expansion. There we go. Expansion of their strategic partnership with Humana. Yep. So, all right. It's going to be it for us.
Humana picks Fitbit Care as preferred health coaching solution. So deal with Humana. That's the catalyst here.
Yeah.
That could kickstart it.
$6. Okay. All right.
It could kickstart it for a little bit. I mean, the stock is still out of favor, but I don't know. It's good news.
Yeah, it's not bad news, that's for sure. All right, that's gonna be it for us today. Thanks, guys, for sticking with us. Thanks to our guest, Chris Brecher. Thanks to all of you in our chat on YouTube and premarket.benzinga.com. You can catch the podcast of this show on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google Play, or just rewatch it on YouTube. I want to remind you that everything we say on this show is for informational purposes and not meant to be investing advice. With that said, hope you all have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you on Thursday.